Sir, it's good, but yeah, currently, just due to some psychologically, we are in the state like something we are in behind some these monsoon guys. So that is the only thing. But the rest we are covering. So we have covered some few topics of DVD. So just the thing is only that layout part. I'm considering how and when to cover it.
Yeah.
That is a
So
basic issue.
yeah.
So
So Mr. Ranjan must have
and
already shared
currently.
some tutorials with you.
Yes, sir. But currently we were looking on the DVD, and also the other subjects are there, so it's bit of hectic currently going on. So that is the only problem.
Yeah, yeah. So Rajat, hectic is going to be there throughout the semester. So if you find it as a problem, then you will not be able to there. That is the situation. I would not
Yes,
say it is a problem. That is the situation. If you look at it as a situation, things will be much easier. If you look at it as a problem, ooh, then you have problems.
yes, sir.
Because
Yes, sir.
situations you can handle, problems scare you. Is it not?
Yes, sir.
So to
Sure.
choose the words
And
wisely.
that is yes, sir. So the only thing is that currently, sir, it is I'm unable to sir that manage the thing. Like how much to focus on the other subjects and how much to focus on that DVD part to cover over MDT. So that is basically a small problem I'm facing.
Yeah, but we just need to look at the first two, three lectures of DVD for now. And that is also, they are just introduction to VLSI. They're not DVD. As I mentioned to, in the class when we were doing DVD, even then I said, this is not DVD. This is just introduction to VLSI. So that is what.
Yes, sir.
And
Yes, sir.
then we
That
look
I
at
think.
two or three lectures of PTL and static CMOS and dynamic CMOS. They will not also take long. So don't worry too much. It's okay. It will happen.
Okay, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, get a handle on tooling now. If you've seen the first two, three lectures, then you can now focus on the tooling and then subsequently look at PTL, static CMOS. That will come next week sometime.
Okay, sir.
Okay. What about others? How are you guys doing? आपके सबके courses finalize हो गए? I'm assuming
Yes, sir.
all of us who are here are now a part of this course.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now if all of us over here are a part of this course, I think we can go to the next slide and conclude on these open items. So what should be the substitute class time? Location, we know location is online only. There is no other option that we have. But can we keep Wednesdays 4 p.m. 4 to 5:30 as a substitute class time? Would that work for everyone?
Yes, sir.
Sir, actually, it's my office hours from 4 to 5 p.m.
Whose office hours?
My Gagandeep.
So Gagandeep, since office hours are usually set by TAs themselves, can you push them out on the days when we have an extra class or a substitute class? Only on those Wednesdays.
Yes.
Can you work with the
Yes, sir.
students? Do you think that is possible?
Yes, sir. If it is that, yes, yes. I will.
Because office hours, so TAs and students jointly decide. So we can try that?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I can. Okay.
Great. So also tell me one thing. I had kept the office hours, my office hours as 2 to 3 p.m. on Monday. Yesterday I received a request कि हमारी 1:30 से 3:30 तक एक engagement है. So we are not able to join your office hours. Therefore I
Yes,
put my office hours from 1 to 2. Okay.
but again,
So
sir,
what
we
is
are
the
having
correct time?
lecture.
When do you want? Yeah. So
Sir,
then what is the preferred time for office hours?
then sir, it
Is it
can
okay
be
if I
a
keep
bit
them
early.
from say 3 to 4? 3 to 4 would work?
No, sir. Actually,
Yes,
from
sir.
I think 1:30 to 3:30, we are having that lab part of that THF. So for the first years.
So for me
Mhm.
also, like from 1:30 to 4:30, I have a class of TA-ship.
Okay, this is a lab that you have to go to every time.
Yes,
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, for
on
me
Monday.
also.
Okay. So I think 4 to 5:30, many of you will have MSD clash. Mixed signal design is from 4 to 5:30. Am I right? On Mondays and Thursdays?
Yes. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Monday mornings, how are you guys placed? 10 to 11? Monday mornings?
Works for me, sir.
Sorry?
It works for me. I mean,
So we have tutorials for M4 actually. Monday morning.
What time?
Yeah.
No, what time, Anushri?
So 9 to 10:30. So up to 10:30.
Yeah, that is why I'm saying 10. Yeah, at 10 to 11, you
Yeah,
will still have
okay,
half an
okay.
hour
So
lab with me. Okay.
yeah. Half an hour will have. Yeah, okay.
Or if you want, I can keep 11 to 12. But I think 11 to 12. How does that work? Anyone has a class or clash at that time? 11 to 12 on Mondays? So 11 to 12, no one has a problem, that means. So is it okay if I keep it 11 to 12 on Mondays, my office hours?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Bilals are on Saturdays, Biswaranjans on Tuesdays, 5:30 to 6:30. Shandeep might not continue to be RTA. So Thursdays ones may not happen. And Khalid is on Wednesdays. So do you want Biswa? Biswa, you are here. I know. I just saw you.
Yes,
Can
sir.
we then have Biswa's hours on Thursday? Biswa, Thursday is possible for you.
Sir, no problem. I don't have.
Thursdays 5:30 to 6:30, Biswa's office hours. That would spread out office hours a bit more across the week. Otherwise, Tuesday, Friday को कोई भी नहीं होगा आपके लिए.
Okay, sir. Fine, sir. Thursday you can keep as the same time, like 6 to 7. So उनको भी एक window मिल जाएगा. पढ़ के बताएं.
Does that work for everyone? Thursday 6 to 7 for Biswaranjan's office hours. So instead of so let us say that we change it like this. ये नहीं रहेगा. या नहीं उल्टा हो गया. What I wanted to say was this is then Thursday 6 to 7. Biswa still remains to be the first point of contact. If Sandeep does not continue to be RTA, then this point will go to Bilal. Is that okay? Biswa, you can inform Bilal also about this.
Okay, sir.
So should we mean that, like, with this arrangement done, can I assume that the logistics of the course are set up properly now? Can I assume this? Any challenges that any one of you is facing because of the logistics of this course?
sir, just to confirm, the quiz slot will also remain on Wednesday from 5 or 5:30 as in DVD, right?
Yeah, quiz slot remains there. Yes.
Okay.
Quiz slot will be in this window, and we decided last time that quiz will be 5:00 p.m. onwards. Okay.
Okay.
Is that fine? Great. So with this logistics thing handled, what were we doing last time?
Sir, we were doing the memory architecture, basics of it.
Okay, so what did we study about that?
Sir, you showed us a diagram for reading and writing cycle of a memory, a quick introduction on that. The X decoders, control array, and IOs on that array.
Okay. So any questions about that? मैं बहुत अच्छा पढ़ाता हूँ, किसी को सवाल बचता ही नहीं है. No one has any question after I teach, huh?
Also, you mentioned that we studied this details, so that is why.
Oh, so you're postponing all your questions. Okay, I get that. So then that's a easy thing for me to do. हाँ, ये हम बाद में पढ़ेंगे कह के I can just go scot free. Is that fine?
So there were certain technical terms which I didn't understand. So you said that.
Yeah, we will just technical terms. Yes, we will look at. So, okay. So what we did last time was we saw that in a memory there are 4 major areas. The first one is the array. Then we have IOs. IOs would typically have sense amplifiers, write drivers, recharge, mux, and so on, output buffers. So we'll look into the structure of the IO a little later. We will start with memory cell array. Okay. Then it also has X decoders, which is basically word line drivers, and a little bit of decoding there. Okay. And the control region actually controls the state machine. So you remember I showed you a very complex state machine last time? What does a state machine of a memory look like? I know I asked you not to remember that. That is not the intent. But what different states of memory can you think of? And how many states can memory be?
One, I guess 4 would be the optimal one. First being the idle state when you do not have the read or write operation. Other would be the writing operation. Other would be the reading operation. And the fourth one could be a the fault mode or something like that,
Standby,
there could be a
standby mode and recharge mode, and it could be ready.
Yeah, it could. So just to give you an example, see. So you're right. Both of you are right, Anushri and Swapnil. See, as a designer, how many states I want to put there also depends a bit on me, is it not? So it depends quite a bit on how the user requirements are. For example, if the user says that I want a retention mode, then there is a state of retention also there. If the user says I want a test mode, then there is a state of test also there, and so on. So the number of states would change based on what the user specification is. But the number of states can also change based on how I look at it. For example, I may say that, okay, after my reset, I'm now in a wait state. I'm waiting for the next clock to come. Or I may call that as a ready state. And after the clock comes, I may say, okay, this is the pre-decode stage. I can put multiple stages like this. In fact, as of now, currently we are working on memory with the second year MTech students, where we have 3 stages of pipeline inside the memory. So when there are 3 stages of pipeline inside the memory, so each part of the memory is in a different state. And so state machine is driven by the customer and also by you as a designer. And all that control of state machine lies in this region, the control region. Okay. So in a memory compiler, or in a memory for that matter, array, as we agreed, is very structured. The same unit is repeated so many number of times. So it is a structure. You just make one unit, and then in a way you have created the entire array. Okay. Now this is grossly simplifying the complexity of the array. Array design is one of the most complex tasks in memory design, memory compiler design. For a circuit designer, not as much. For a circuit designer who design the memory cell, but the array design is not as much a complex task. But for a physical designer, designing the array is a really complex job, and we will look into that a little later. Okay. Row decoders also, we saw that, okay, there you just design one row decoder and then you repeat them, and that should be fine. IOs also, each IO has, as I said, sense amplifier, write driver, and so on, and all that you do is you repeat them. Okay, you design one and then you repeat them. But control, there's nothing like repetition for control, because you have only one control, let us say, okay, which controls the state machine. Now, in banked architectures, you may have 2 levels of control. We will look into that also. But control is not repeated. Control is not repeated like this region gets created as soon as you have one decoder ready. Control के कोई sub parts नहीं है. Control is designed almost full custom as an entire block. So in terms of physical design, designing the control block of the memory is the most time consuming part. Okay, so 2 or 3 designers are just designing the control blocks. Remaining 2-3 designers design the remaining part of the memory. That is how things are organized in a memory team. Okay, so this is just to give you a brief idea of the complexity of design in the control region. There was a question.
Sir, I have a question.
Sir,
Anuj,
you
please
just
go ahead.
gave a statement.
Yes, Anuj.
Sir, you just gave a statement when you were discussing about this memory array that physical designing is complex and chip designing is not complex. Sir, can you please repeat what you said?
I said physical design of the array is really very complex. It takes a lot of time and attention, and only experts are given that activity. Circuit design is also complex, but circuit design is something that I can very easily teach you in this class itself. Physical design requires a lot of intuition to go alongside. A lot of intuition and a lot of process technology knowledge, technology weaknesses, and all that process information or knowledge is also required to make a good physical design of the array.
Good morning, sir.
Yes. So just a minute. Anuj, is that clear?
Sir, by this physical designing, you mean to say that part only, placement, routing, floor planning. So, sir, we do these things in that circuit design? No.
Physical design of a memory cell is not done by using P&R. It is done full custom.
Okay.
Okay. Physical design means custom layout design. जैसे आपने DVD में बनाया था.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Arjun had a question. Rajat also had a question.
Sir, yes, sir. So in array designing part, are we creating? It is basically related to that creating the instances of the memory that we studied in the last lecture, previous lecture.
No. For the array part, you are just creating one memory's array, one memory instances array.
Hello.
So for the when I'm saying that you have to design the array, you're designing the memory cell region of one instance of the memory, not the number of instances, just one instance of the memory. You're making the array, and it requires a lot of attention.
So each instance of this memory would have these all these control IOs and its decoders, etc.
Yes. Every memory needs independent control, ना? ये तो नहीं कह सकते कि मैंने एक मेमोरी को एक्सेस करना तो मेरी सारी की सारी मेमोरीज एक साथ रीड करेंगी. That will waste a lot of power. I need control for every memory independently, is it not?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's why. Arjun, you had a question? Arjun, you were saying something? Okay. So.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Sir, in physical design, we will design the layout. I mean, by full custom. Then, what circuit designer will do, sir? Then, what is the part of circuit designer?
So, how did you design the OAI last semester, Guruveer?
Okay, so by taking some constraints and functionality.
Sizing the circuit, no?
Yes, sir, sizing.
So circuit designer will do the sizing.
Okay, then circuit designer will do the circuit on paper, then this physical designer will...
Not just on paper, he will also do Eldo simulations, Monte Carlo simulations. We will do that, all of that. Just wait for a week, you will do all of this.
Okay, sir.
Okay. आगे बढ़े? Okay. So we saw in the last class that in the control region, the clock would come and the clock would generate, go to the clock generator and some internal clocks would be generated. Address would come, it would be pre-decoded and post-decoded and then goes to the post-decoder. In the post-decoder, we generate what we call as the word line, which select the memory cell and discharge the bit lines. A differential voltage appears on the bit lines, and a sense amplifier amplifies that difference, and we latch that output and we buffer it to the Q pin. Okay, this is the top level view. In the write operation, the word line selection part happens in the same way. However, on the IO side, now the data is coming from the user side. The data comes, it goes to the write driver. And then there is a differential that is created on the bit lines. One bit line is taken to 0, the other bit line is maintained at 1, and you write into the memory cell. Okay? A quick look at how things are moving in terms of a signal flow. So as a circuit designer, you have to always, when you will start to write papers or anything, what is important is that you make the schematics in those papers. But what is also very important is that you explain the functionality of those schematics by using signal flows. Okay, so it is important that we look at the signal flow also when we look at memory functionality. So just give me a moment. Seems to be stuck. This should not happen. Just give me a moment. Okay, so on your screen, you're able to see the timing diagram. Can you please confirm this?
Yes, sir. Yes. We can see write cycle timing diagram.
Okay. So this is strange because my screen is stuck. Interesting. Okay, now I am able to see. Great. So we have to show this timing diagram also. So as we saw here, the CKI, the internal clock, would be generated. It will lead to generation of word line after, pre-decoding and everything. On the IO side, we generate a clock which is called as write clock. Let us say, okay, let us name it write clock. So WR clock. This activates the discharge of the bit line through the write driver. So depending on what data needs to be written, one of the bit lines would discharge after write clock arrives. In parallel, we also will need to have a reference bit line. So what is the purpose of reference bit line and the like? We will look at a little later in the class. But a reference bit line will come. It will lead to the generation of a signal that we call as write detect, and then subsequently reset will come after the write detect is completed. That is, write operation has completed. Then what we see is the reset will reset the CKI node. CKI reset in turn resets word lines and the write clock. It also results in generation of a pre-charge signal so that bit line and the reference bit line get pre-charged to VDD. Once the bit line is pre-charged to VDD, write reset also, write detect also resets, and subsequently reset also resets. Okay, so this is the movement through the entire state machine of the memory. Again, you don't need to remember this, but for the sake of completeness, I want to show you how signal flow diagrams are made. Any questions?
Sir?
Yes.
Sir?
Yes.
So could you just repeat the use of reference write bit line, the green line?
I did not tell you. I did not tell you what is the use of reference bit line. So reference bit line, comes, it generates a precursor to the reset signal. So okay, what happens is, so we've not talked about mismatch yet, but come to think of it, in this entire array, there are how many memory cells? Let us say the memory size is 16K cross 32. So how many memory cells would be there?
16 multiplied by 32, whatever that number is.
16K multiplied by 32, something like 0.5 megabit.
ठीक है.
Okay. So 0.5 megabit means there are at least 3 million devices that are designed in this particular region. If I take a 60 memory cell, 0.5 megabit means 6 million transistors in this region. Now, due to these 6 million transistors, there will be variations. The large number of transistors itself. So, when should you trigger the sense amplifier, or when should you trigger the when should you start to close the write operation? You would not know. Am I right? You cannot just put a sum delay circuit over here and say that, okay, after this delay, reset the write operation. It cannot be done like that. Why? Because there would be some instances which have a smaller array. There would be some instances which have a much bigger array. So what we do is, in memories, we add, so we will anyways cover that later also, we add what we call as reference word lines and reference bit lines. Okay. So what we say is that if can traverse this entire path, it means the largest delay is taken care of. Okay. And since the largest delay is taken care of, I can now reset the memory. Does this make sense?
Okay, I mean, I get the point. I mean, आपने सारी bit lines का अलग-अलग delay निकालने के बजाय एक combined worst case delay से कुछ substitute कर दिया reference से. But the thing is, I mean, like the bit lines would run common in all the columns, right? So, I mean, their delay would be same. I mean, in a way, instead of having a reference, I mean, the bit line could also suffice the purpose of.
Yeah, but bit line is not full swing, na? In write cycle, it is full swing, but in read cycle, we want to say foul.
ठीक है.
Okay, so only the reference bit line will discharge full swing, others will not discharge full swing. Okay. Yeah. Rajat, you had a question?
Sir, why can't we just stop at, you mentioned that we don't have the idea when to stop at write driver if there is a large size of error. So the data which we want to write, when it ends, it must stop at that.
So how do you know that data has been written into the memory cells?
Also, I am not getting it.
Okay. Let us look at it in a different way. You send a letter to your Mausaji or Mausiji.
Yes.
You sent a letter. How will you know it reached them and they read it or not? Is there a way?
So only through confirmation. Or
yeah, how will you confirm?
By talking or anything else.
Okay. So what we are saying is that we suppose there is a marriage in the family and we have to send 20,000 cards. यहाँ पे तो हम 6 million transistors या 0.5 megabit memory मतलब 0.5 million memory cells की बात कर रहे हैं. But let us say you only have to send 20,000 cards. Now, when should you start sending the cards, or on which date should you send the cards? How will you decide that?
Yes, it's a bit difficult to decide, but we'll start from much before the target date.
So you will say, I'm not bothered about how much time each card would take. What I want to know is, what is the longest that any card can take? The longest is, I am to send some card to Andaman Nicobars, let us say in India itself. That is the longest it can take. So let me find out the delay that a card would take from Delhi to Andaman Nicobars. Can you say this?
Yes.
That is our reference.
Okay.
Because if I start my cards at that time, I am assured that if a card has to reach Bombay, it will reach Bombay. A card has to reach Kanpur, it will reach Kanpur also. Because I have taken care of Andaman Nicobars.
Yes.
That is why you need a reference bit line or a reference circuit.
Okay.
Does this help?
Yes.
Okay. Anything else? So we will look at reference circuits in a little more detail later also. But if you have any more questions now, please ask.
Sir, can you show the timing diagram once?
Sure. Are you able to see it now?
So it's coming slowly. Sir, I want to ask this one thing. So the completion of the total read cycle, write cycle would depend upon the width of the reference write bit line that is given, that is shown in the green color. We can say that.
How would you decide the width of the reference bit line? You will not know, no?
Okay.
You will not know how to decide the duration for which the reference bit line has to be low.
Okay,
so
sir.
what you need to do is you need to generate a write detect kind of a signal which says, okay, write operation has also happened on the reference words. And then you generate the reset. Once the reset is generated, you then initiate the reset operation where first clock would reset, then word lines would reset, then precharge would start and bit lines would reset. Subsequently, the other two parts would also reset. Is that okay?
Okay, sir, understood.
आगे बढ़े?
Yes, sir.
So next what we can look at is, let us say a memory data sheet. Just give me a moment. So I will show you a data sheet. So are you able to see my screen?
Yes.
So this is a very old data sheet from ST Microelectronics. Even though it is very old, realize that this is ST's proprietary stuff, so you cannot really quote anything from what I am sharing with you on this sheet. This is available to me only for instruction purposes so that I can take this course with you. So do not quote any numbers or anything from this sheet anywhere. Okay? Can I assume that you will maintain this confidentiality?
Sure, sir.
Because see, a lot of stuff that people will show you in this class, you know, when I will also invite, let us say, guest lecturers or stuff like that, a lot of stuff that will be shared with you in the class may be confidential. Otherwise, with memory design course, you really cannot take the course if you do not share such kind of stuff. Okay. So in that context, I would want that you remain extra cautious and extra careful about how to, how do I put it? How to handle the material that is shared. Okay. Please maintain the confidentiality in the best possible manner. My computer is giving me some trouble today. I know you are able to see my screen, but it's stuck at the first page of the data sheet. So a data sheet would typically have multiple sections. Okay. Let me see if I can share it from another place also. Just give me a moment. Yeah. So you need to go to my other screen. Are you able to see my other screen?
Yes, sir.
So please use that one for now. My laptop seems to be stuck. So as I said, a data sheet would have multiple sections. Okay. For example, the one that I'm sharing with you, just look at the instance name on the top. It says CMOS M55. So M55 is some technology name that they are talking about. Okay. Then ST is the name of the vendor that is providing this sheet. And then we say SPHD. SPHD stands for single port high density. Okay. And then I say LL, which is low leakage. Then I have the memory size, which is 512 words, 74 bits, organized as MUX 8. Okay, we will see what MUX is in a little while. So as you see, there are multiple sections in a data sheet. The first section, you're able to see my sheet, my screen, where I'm sharing cell characteristics, symbol, and everything. Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So there are cell characteristics, there is a symbol that is put in the data sheet, pin description is provided, timing characteristics are provided, then timing diagrams. जैसा अभी हमने एक signal flow बनाया, उसी तरह से timing diagrams are provided, power characteristics are provided, and leakage characteristics are also provided. So the cell characteristics include stuff like the number of words, which was also there in the name. Number of words, number of bits, number of multiplexer inputs. We'll look at what a multiplexer does. The output drive capability. This means how strong a driver would have put on the output buffer. Okay. For those of you who have done the DVD course, do you remember we were driving an output load with your cells?
Yes, sir.
So those who have not done, don't feel left out, because it is anyways obvious that when we design any circuit, we would want to drive something with this circuit. Am I right? So when I intend to drive a circuit with this, what this also means is that there is a load that is being driven. So depending on the size of the load, I will need to change the size of my output driver so that I can get good timings. Okay. So driving capability represents that. Abstract is mesh based M4. So it's in the highest metal layer that you're using in this particular memory is metal 4. Bit mask is no. So bit mask is a feature. So okay. So why do you think I'm sharing with you this data sheet? Is there any purpose behind sharing this data sheet with you?
I mean, like, we need to be aware of all the technical aspects of parameters associated with the basic 60 maybe SRAM cell, and we would be studying it, so we need to have some kind of a knowledge beforehand, what all we'll be covering in the course maybe.
No. So it's not about what all we will be covering in the course. It only is about whether like what जो मैंने अभी थोड़ी देर पहले, what I was talking about, the state machines and so many different states that a circuit can be in, that a memory can be in. When you were talking about that aspect, I'm coming to that only. Okay, I'm coming to that only in the sense that when I show the data sheet, I will be able to tell you about features like bit mask. That's a different state that a memory can be in. Okay, or a feature like redundancy, or a feature like BIST marks and so on. I just wanted to introduce these features to you so that you know that the state machine can be really complex, and how the timings, what kind of timings are to be given when we make a memory. Okay, this is just to give you that kind of an idea. So bit mask is a feature in which we say that, okay, even though my memory has, in this case, 74 bits, I do not want to write on all 74 of them. I want to write on only 8 of them. So I say that I will put bit mask is equal to high on the remaining 66 bits so that I don't waste power in those 66 bits. Okay. So that is how bit mask feature can be helpful. Those of you who may have done a course on processor design and studied anything about cache coherency, you would know that there are bits called dirty bits. Do you know how many of you have done it? Anyone has done this? Has heard about dirty bits or something like that earlier?
Yes, sir.
So dirty bits tell whether the contents in the cache are the most updated or not. Okay. So when you want to make one dirty bit, only change a dirty bit, you do not want to write on the remaining 64 bits or 65 bits. You put everything else on mask is equal to 1 and write on only one bit to save power. Okay, so mask is that feature. Then there is this debug mode in which we can have additional delays introduced in some places to see if the memory, in case it fails, how to get it back to working mode again. Okay, that is a debug mode. Power supply basic implies that, okay, the substrate supplies are not separate. So when we design a circuit, you know that there are 4 terminals of a transistor. Which are these 4 terminals?
Source, drain, gate, and the body.
Yeah. Source, drain, gate, and the body. Typically, we design only with 3 terminals. Which are these? Source, body, source, gate, and drain. So when a user intends to use memory with only this basic configuration, we say, okay, the power supply configuration is basic. However, when the user says, no, I also want to use body bias. A user may want to use body bias for improving the performance, that is the speed, or for reducing the leakage. Okay? So when a user wants that kind of a mode in which the power supplies for substrate are also available separately, that mode is called advanced mode. At least in ST it is called as advanced mode. In ST it is also called as split supply mode in some configurations. So that this is what this feature at a power supply talks about. Okay. Then LVSS is a low voltage supply system supply mode, where if a memory is in LVSS mode, it can operate at a lower voltage than the standard platform. Okay, there is, again, when you reduce voltage, you reduce power, so it's a low power feature. Redundancy means that in this particular memory, there are a few additional rows and columns, or rows or columns, or khali rows or only columns, which can be used to replace failing cells. Why do you think this is necessary? Why do I want to replace failing cells? Hello?
Sir, so that like if like due to some high voltage or surge or anything, some of the transistors or bit cells, if they get damaged, so that we cannot directly replace it by going in. So like it's good to have some extra cells placed there, so that like the capacity of my memory will stay the same for more time.
Okay, so what we are saying is that if there are some cells which are fabricated weak and therefore they fail. If there are some cells that are fabricated weak and therefore they fail, in that case also, we should be able to use that particular chip. How will we do that? We will replace the failing memory cells. That is what is called as the redundancy feature. Okay. Then BIST mux. Anyone of you knows what is BIST?
So built-in self-test.
Okay, what does this mean?
So in order to reduce the cost for testing the chips, there is some feature which is present inside the chip itself in order to make sure that the circuitry is working fine.
And what does that
So actually, Actually, internally we provide some inputs to that circuit, so that internally it will compute and tell us that it is working fine or not.
Sir, it reduces testing cost.
It reduces testing cost. Okay. So what we are actually also saying is, so are you able to see my earlier screen now?
Yes, sir.
Doesn't work. No, go back to my.
So maybe you could try it once, just not in the presentation mode, in the normal mode. You can try it. It might work out. Sometimes the PowerPoint doesn't work.
Yeah. Just give me a moment. Yeah, now that. Oh, this screen is also now not visible. Share screen, start sharing, start now. Okay, so what BIST does is, BIST says that BIST automatically generates patterns to read and write into the memory. Okay, and that then is used to test the memory. Is that okay? So instead of a user trying to access every memory from outside, we say there is a small controller inside on the chip itself, which would test every location one by one. This, because it is on chip, will be much, much faster. Last time also we were talking about having more delays when things have to go off chip. So because a BIST is on the same chip, it is much, much faster. And the test quality is also much better because there are lesser components through which your data inputs or data outputs, Q pins, Q outputs would go through. Okay. So when we say there is a BIST mux inside the memory, what this means is that to control the memory, there is a mux inside which can control the memory either through the user inputs or through the inputs coming from the BIST. Okay, we will look at this aspect towards the fag end of this course and we'll talk about testability. Okay, then there are these last two things which are called safety feature and stress test. What do you think they mean?
Sir, stress may be the adverse conditions, like if the temperature goes above the normal temperature. So that.
What does stress test mean? Stress could be that, yes, you are right. But what does stress mean?
Sir, stress test is means providing those adverse conditions like increasing the temperature or something like that. So, and testing that.
Inside the memory, how can I increase the temperature? Temperature is not in my control. Suppose someone is sitting in an AC room, how can I ensure that the temperature will increase? उसका तो AC उसको ठंडा कर देगा.
सर हम इलेक्ट्रिकल पैरामीटर्स को तो चेंज कर सकते हैं ना, लाइक वोल्टेज और करंट को चेंज करके वी कैन इंक्रीज.
यू सेट टेंपरेचर ना?
हाँ सर, मतलब वो चिप का टेम्परेचर बढ़ा देंगे ना.
हाउ डू आई डू दैट? If the user has a very good cooling capacity with him, the user will cool whatever I heat. It will cool immediately. Temperature I cannot control.
Hello, sir. Yeah.
Yes.
Run it at high frequency, like fast data transfer. Maybe.
Even if I do that, I operate everything at a very high frequency, so there is lots of power dissipation, so heat is generated. But there is a very good cooling mechanism that the user has. It's a big fan, it applies directly onto your chip.
So we can use some kind of benchmark criteria, which would sir, that could be specific to what task we are performing. Like here we want to test the RAM. So I don't know, basically some kind of benchmark criteria maybe.
Okay.
So stress cost could be the, I mean, like patterns of inputs which would be given to the memory to operate at the worst condition possible. I mean, it could be a series of input pattern. Just
तो वो तो आपको BIST में भी देने चाहिए ना. स्ट्रेस टेस्ट के लिए अलग पिन क्यों चाहिए? वो तो आप BIST के थ्रू दोगे ताकि वर्स्ट केस में भी मेमोरी का टेस्ट हो जाए। तो स्ट्रेस टेस्ट अलग क्यों है?
Sir, it might be that memory is sending some signal when it is showing that yes, this is a stress condition.
Okay.
सर इट कैन बी कि मैक्सिमम कितना नंबर ऑफ टाइम्स, जैसे वो एक रहता है कि मैक्सिमम कितना नंबर ऑफ टाइम मैं रीड या राइट ऑपरेशन कर सकता हूँ, तो दैट थिंग कि एक क्लॉक साइकिल में मतलब एंड्योरेंस कितना है?
So you're coming close. तुक्के सही जाए. So what is safety feature? What would safety mean?
So some kind of fail-safe feature, like if something goes haywire, so there should be some kind of fail-safe mechanism in order to make sure that the circuit would remain working.
Where would you need safety features?
So proper ground,
stop like unnecessary data writing or like unwanted data writing or reading from the test. Like how they used to have in floppy disk, that small button kind of thing, maybe.
Yeah. Where would you need safety features? Which application would require safety feature?
सर जैसे हम लोग को वो क्राइटेरिया एक रहता था पैरामीटर फिगर ऑफ मेरिट की राइट मार्जिन कितना होना चाहिए, तो कैन दैट बी कि मैं मैक्सिमम कितना वोल्टेज तक अप्लाई कर सकता हूँ सो दैट मैं अपना वो राइट ऑपरेशन प्रॉपर्ली कर सकूं, तो दैट कैन आल्सो बी इंक्लूडेड इन सेफ्टी मेजर.
So safety feature could be one of those things, you know, when the memory cell or the memory component is exposed to high temperature or high, you know, adverse environmental conditions, you know, maybe automotive applications or some space tech or something, and वहाँ पे कुछ short circuiting या फिर I mean like you know whenever those adverse conditions I mean would you know cause the automobile to you know I mean automotive application to go to failure mode, so this safety feature would come into picture and avoid that memory from you know getting affected by that you know problem in that application. So
okay, so
kind of a fuse maybe
maybe sir, that canary and razor we can use as a safety feature.
Okay, so let me tell you, safety feature is typically required by life critical applications or mission critical applications, as Swapnil mentioned. For example, an automobile. An automobile would require safety features because automobile, you do not want a car to crash, come whatever may. A memory can have a bit fail, but even then the car should not crash. है ना? Just one electronic component, one bit failing, should the car crash? No, it has to be prevented. So in such life critical or mission critical applications, or let's say a pacemaker should be extremely safe. If there is a problem, it should send out a warning. So safety features are additional features that are added to the memory, which indicate to the user that there has been a failure inside the memory. Okay, or that this memory is about to fail. Even if it is not failed, it is about to fail. So in terms of like what Rayan mentioned, it could be like canary. So you can say it is like canary. System may not have failed already, but can fail with aging or something like that. So that is a safety feature, which tells that memory has failed. Now bring in other mechanisms in place so that memory ke failure aapke system ko. So memory is a circuit, but system includes hardware, software, so many things. That is how your car is operated. Khali memory ke basis pe to car nahi chalti na. So memory ne bata diya, I have failed. My information is not correct. Now what you may need to do is you may need to read the memory again, or you may need to do some other steps so that the incorrect information that the memory gave you, or the information that you wanted to write inside the memory, has now not been written. So you say, okay, now stall the system, write the information again into the memory, and then restart the system. That could be the case. Or you may say, oh, I need to initiate a backup operation now, so that is memory mein theek se nahi likha gaya, I will write it in a different memory and do something. So what the system does, we are not bothered about yet. But the important thing is that the memory should be able to tell that the operation has not happened successfully. Operation has not been completed successfully. That is safety features. Okay. Stress test is as you guys finally arrived at, yes.
Sir, how is that different from faults being in the memory? Means when there are faults, we don't necessarily assume that the memory has failed. So
when there are faults, Sneha, the best way to tell memory has failed. Are you able to see this? When there is a fault, best would tell that memory has failed, and there is nothing you can do. You have to throw the chip away.
Okay.
Over here, what we are saying is that the chip was working in the field. Chip was fine. Some glitch happened, and the memory could not complete the operation in time. Due to some glitch, some voltage drop happened, something happened. Now the memory says that, oh, my operation was not completed successfully. It does not even tell why it could not complete the operation successfully. The memory is functional, but it failed once, randomly.
Okay.
Sir, what would indicate that the memory has become dysfunctional or it has not completed the operation?
So there are circuits that you need to add into the memory to be able to identify that.
So what kind of circuits would exactly they be?
So there could be things like error correction codes. Okay. Then there could be diagnostic circuits which would measure different pulse widths inside the memory itself. So it's a kind of an oscilloscope inside the memory. There could be comparators. There could be many things. So in fact, Swapnil is working on one such circuit now. Am I right, Swapnil?
Yes, sir.
So he doesn't know the circuit. He has to design one. He has been briefed upon a semblance of a circuit, but he has to design one. So if you go to my website, there are some papers. One paper was published last year in ISQED. You can have a look at that. That can give you one idea of how a diagnostic circuit is made. Okay. Okay. So safety features are like that. Stress features, on the other hand, are like are features which would put memory under stress. See, you are stuck at temperature बढ़ाना है, temperature बढ़ाना है. See, what happens when the temperature increases? Memory would go slow, let us say, or memory would leak more. Am I right? Are you with me? When the temperature increases, memory would go slower, or the leakage of the memory would increase. Something like that would happen.
Yes, sir.
So now I cannot really control temperature of a chip. But what I can do is I can emulate. Oh, I know that when temperature rises to 125 degrees Celsius, at that time the memory operates 20% slower. I see that in CAD. Okay. Now what I can do is I can have a mode in which when this mode is activated, some voltage supply is reduced somewhere so that memory operates 20% slower. Are you able to see this? So I have brought in the stress related to temperature in different parts of the circuit. Or let us say, if we talk about aging, we say that, okay, I cannot really age every chip for 5 years and then give to the customer, because if I age for 5 years, then what happens? After 5 years, the chip would have limited life left. So I just need to test it for a little while, and then I should be able to give it to the customer. Okay. So I want to do a quick burn-in kind of a test. So just for a very short duration, I will have a charge pump that will operate, and so just for a very short time, a charge pump would operate, and we would be able to put stress onto the memory. Okay. And put that onto the memory, and that can be the reason why. Just give me a moment. Today seems to be a bad day. My laptop is throwing tantrums today. Yeah. So I will just have some high voltage generated on my chip for a little while, and that would put memory under stress. Okay, so that would be something like stress modes. Now also look at these derived parameters. Yes.
Sir, could you briefly go upon the LVSS mode once? What was it used for and what was it?
It is a mode in which I would add some extra delays, for example, Swapnil, where the memory would slow down and be able to operate at lower voltages also.
Okay.
So again, these are just samples of different modes. You don't need to worry too much about exactly kya hai or kya nahi hai. Okay, these are just samples. So and depending on which company you go to and which memory you look at, they could change. Okay. So just
also
give me a
that
moment.
bit mask also, I didn't understand what is that.
I'm sorry.
So bit mask, exactly what is it?
Bit mask, what is it? Okay, so let us say there are 674 bits in this memory. This memory has 74 bits. I want to write on only one bit.
Okay.
What do I need to do?
Also,
I want the contents of remaining 73 bits to be preserved. How can I do that?
So we can reduce the whole columns and rows to a single bit. That is.
No, but the memory is already there.
Yes.
How can I now reduce?
Okay, so then we'll apply a mask.
Yes.
And so how would we exactly apply this mask inside the memory?
We will not let the write clock operate in that. We will just AND it. Clock gating. Every bit will have a clock gating in circuit in itself.
Yes.
And you can do that?
No, thinking about it.
Yeah. So when you think, you will be able to arrive at an answer. Okay. So now coming to derived parameters. What do you think they mean? What is the importance of derived parameters over here? The ones that we are talking about.
So it is giving some parameters for the complete structure of the memory that has been designed.
So I said the user entered the number of words 5 and 2. But that doesn't mean that there are 5 and 2 rows. Because the user also put in another variable which is called mux. Now what is mux? Let us have a quick look at that. Are you able to see my whiteboard?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So let us say I wanted to make a memory of 16K cross 32. 16K words. Hello. अरे यार कुछ गड़बड़ हो रहा है आज. Okay, we will look at the mux concept in the next class here. My laptop is giving me trouble. So just remind me in the next class that we have to look at the mux concept. Are you able to see my phone screen again and the data sheet again?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So mux concept only means that we are, instead of one word in a row, I am putting mux number of words in every row. So over here, since mux is 8, so instead of one word per row, there are 8 words per row. So what would happen? If there are 8 words per row, then what would happen?
Number of rows would be 5 and 2 divided by 8.
Yes. And the number of columns would be number of bits into 8. Are you able to see this?
Yes, sir.
So that is what we are looking at. So what we are saying is that by changing the mux of operation, we can, in fact, change the aspect ratio of the memory. Can you imagine this? So in one case, if suppose mux was 1, then how many rows would I have had?
5 and 2.
5 and 2.
How many columns?
74.
I went to mux 4. How many rows would I have?
512 by 4.
Which is?
128.
128. And how many columns would I have?
74 into 4.
That is?
296.
96. So, in mux 1, I had 512 cross 74. Now I have 128 cross 296. If I go to mux 8, as shown in this data sheet, I have 64 cross 592. What am I doing? I am changing the aspect ratio of the memory. Are you able to see this? Visualize this? Hello?
Yes, sir.
So why would I need to change the aspect ratio of the memory?
Sir, it may be possible that in the layout, I have some area constraints like the length I have more in comparison to the width. So maybe
Depending on user specification, you would want to make it either more denser or less. I mean, depending on the specification.
So all of you are doing VDF course now, am I right? This semester?
Yes.
Or already had done? Some of you have already done, others are doing. So we know that there is a floor plan that we will make, in which we will make a small box. That memory should come here. That box has its dimensions. Now you want the memory to have the same aspect ratio as that box, is it not? That is where you use the mux factor there. Is this clear? Are the derived parameters clear? Hello? Hello.
So instead
Yes,
of
sir.
having suppose let's say you had 1 word per row and having now 8 words per row, the access for those words would be complex in a way, right? I mean, like circuitry in all those sense.
I will become a little complex, yes.
Right. Like I mean, you will have to have multiplexing in all those routings to be done to select which particular word you want, and all those things would be.
Yes. Yes.
Sir, but changing the aspect ratio may have some other effects also on the performance or something. Is it true?
Yes, it will. It will. अब देखो ना, suppose you went to a case where you had almost equal number of rows and equal number of columns, a square kind of an instance, let us say. Okay, what happens? Your bitline RC is minimized and your word line RC is also less. If you go to a very, very horizontal cut, very horizontal implementation, let us say mux 16. So I have only 32 rows and more than 1100 columns, approximately 1200 columns. So the word line RC will increase tremendously. So that as soon as RC increases, the delays increase.
Yes.
So as you change the mux factor, the delays would change. RC would change. Yes. So many times user would choose mux to fit into that box. Many other times a user would choose mux to meet the performance and the power specifications. Is that fine?
Yes, sir.
आगे बढ़े? Okay. So then this shows the symbol of the memory. So you made those AOIs and OAIs, inverters and small circuits you have made. How many pins, input and output pins do they have? 3, 4 input pins, 1 output pin, 2 output pins. A flip-flop would have 2, 3 output pins, something like that. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
But in a memory, there's a very wide range of pins that we need. We need the clock. A flop also needs a clock. We need a chip select, so CSN, WEN. So a large number of pins. You already see that in this list over here. Okay, a large number of pins are required to operate the memory. And just below, a description of these pins is given. It tells about the functionality of every pin. whether that pin is an input pin or an output pin. It also talks about, different features like scan related pins. There could be safety related pins, and that would add a different section in the pin description. There could be pipelining related pins, and that could be a different section in the pin description section, and so on. Okay. And you notice it also talks about the capacitance, the input capacitance of different pins. Clock has an input capacitance of 30 femtofarads. WIN has an input capacitance of 5 or 6 femtofarads. Data pins have an input capacitance of 5 femtofarads, and so on. Why is this thing required? Why does the user need to know the input capacitance of the memory pins?
Sir, ultimately some buffer would drive that pin so as to design that
Yes.
circuit.
It needs to design its buffers. And for that, this information is required. So all this information is given in the data sheet also. Okay. As we go further, we see different kinds of timings. In the little number of cells that you've designed, whether it is an inverter or an AND gate or AOIs, how many timings were there? Delay, A to Q delay, A to Y delay, or B to Y delay, just a few timings. Over here, look at it. You have delays from T cycle to, minimum duration for which clock should be high, minimum duration for which clock should be low, TCKH, TCKL, excess time, hold time, T bypass timings, and so on. A huge list of timings that you will need to characterize as a memory designer and give to the user. Again, you don't need to remember neither the labels nor the type of timings. The idea of sharing the data sheet with you is that there is a huge amount of work that goes into designing a memory, and all this work is done by, or is finally included in the memory compiler that we were talking about last time. So in my office hours yesterday, there were some people who were confused that, okay, memory compiler is a small code that does kind of an RTL to GDS flow for the memory. Do you see the difference? All these timings are given by the memory compiler. This data sheet, in fact, is also generated by the memory compiler itself. The memory compiler would generate Verilog views, all the different kind of views automatically, because we have coded the compiler like that. Okay. And then these are the timing diagrams. So what I will do is I will upload this data sheet onto the Google Classroom. So you guys can spend, I would say, 15 minutes to half an hour on this and get a hang of it. The kind of timings, the functionality, the different kind of power consumption. You see this label PACRD50 PC. What does this stand for? Power of active read. Are you able to see this? Power of active read 50%. That is 21.883 microwatts per megahertz. Similarly, you have standby read, standby write, bypass mode. So जितने भी आपके memory के state machines हैं, उन सब state machines में you also have to code the power consumption, not just the timings, power consumption also. Why do we need to code the power consumption? Hello?
Sir, it is also one of the parameter to decide whether it is best or not.
Okay. Anything else?
Sir, at the end.
Power budget के लिए sir.
Power budget के लिए, yes. Anything else?
Basically, the memory will be a part of a big circuit, so to know the total power consumption of that circuit, it would also contribute.
Yes. And what would you do with that?
Sir, chief PPA measurement.
Or volt power supply, basically.
I will provide that kind of power supply over here.
Yes.
I will have, see, all of us have seen that in our homes, there are two kinds of plugs, regular sockets and power sockets. What is the difference between them? हम सबके घरों में दो तरह के सॉकेट्स हैं ना, पावर सॉकेट्स एंड रेगुलर सॉकेट्स.
Sir, one can take 16 ampere of current and the smaller one can take only 5 to 6 ampere of current.
Yeah, why is it so?
Sir, the wiring is also like that. It can't sustain that.
So when we know that I have to put an ACO on this particular plug, I know AC will suck in more current. So I put thick wires. Similarly, when I know that this part of the circuit or SOC is going to consume more power, I will be able to make wider metal rails to supply power to that region. Is that fine? So power budget is also, like you said, power budget, but power planning. So this is called as power planning, and power grid planning is also possible when you look at the datasheet. You will get an idea of it. Okay. And then, as we said, there could be low leakage features in the memory. So we give leakage power of the memory in two modes: leakage at the user PVT, and then leakage when sleep is high or low power mode is activated. Okay. And so I will upload this data sheet and you can have a look at it, and this can give you a better understanding of what all things go into designing a memory. Okay, any questions?
So 50% active cycle of write and read power consumption, which you were showing earlier. I mean, like, is it like for the total duration of the total cycle time, how much is the read? I mean, how much is consumed in the read cycle and the write cycle? What does 50% exactly over there represent?
Okay, so it is already described in the datasheet itself. Good question. I would say when I share the datasheet, read there. It is about what kind of signal toggling is being taken care of when this power is being quoted. You will be impressed by the detail. The detail with which we have to characterize any circuit.
Okay.
Okay. So let me try sharing again. So are you able to see my screen now?
Sir, will datasheet include the type of memory? Like it is a flash or ROM, right?
You will have a view of the datasheet soon enough, na? Today only I will upload, don't worry.
Okay.
Okay. So the one that we saw just now was a high density memory. But in reality, you can have other optimizations also. For example, there could be high speed memories, there could be low power memories, and so on. And there are different ways in which you could optimize for high density, high speed, or low power. Over here in this particular slide, I'm just sharing a few of them. For example, for high density, you would necessarily use a high density memory cell, which is very small in size, which would, because it is small in size, it would have lesser current drive also. Lesser current means it is slower. And also that, just to save area, I do not apply any additional power reduction techniques there. Okay. A high speed memory would have a larger memory cell and bigger drivers, bigger sense amplifiers. Okay. Hierarchical architecture so that the capacitance on the bit lines is lesser, and so on. Similarly, low leakage ones would have memory cells which are designed for lower leakage. It would have retention circuits, floating bit lines, and other low power modes so that you can reduce overall power consumption. Okay, all this is a part of memory architecture, and all of this you need to design when you become a memory designer. Now there are multiple types of memory cells. 60 is the mainstay. Every chip would have at least one memory with 60 memory cells. Even a flash chip would have a 60 base SRAM on it. Okay, a DRAM chip would have some 60 base SRAM on it. So 60 is the mainstay. RW in front of it means that this is a read-write memory. So single port read-write memory. Now there could also be, so now there are multiple, आप IEEE पे जाके बस search करो and you will see that there are 70 cells, 40 cells, 50 cells, all kinds of cells there. Okay, so that is one thing. That is one kind of cells which are all single port cells. But then you also have two port memories. Two port memories could be symmetrical two ports, that is from both the ports you can do read and write operation, or they could be asymmetrical two ports where from one port you can only do read and from the other port you can do both read and write. Okay, there could be multi-port memories where you have, so यहाँ पे two port करा, the multi-port means two read ports and one read write port. What does that mean? When we put it as two read ports and one read write port, what does that mean? Hello?
So there are total 3 ports in which 2 ports can only read and 1 port can read and write both.
Yes. And then in addition to that, you have different kinds of ROMs. So what is shown in the slide in terms of NOR, NAND, diffusion, whatever, there are different levels of programming. So when we talk about ROM cells, we will also talk about different kind of these cells.
Sir, what exactly is meant by a port?
I'm sorry?
Sir, what exactly is meant by a port? Like we can read or write from different
yes, two different, yeah, we can read and write at two different locations. Port essentially means access points, na? So when we say seaport or airport, what do we mean? That when someone is coming from by air, they would get down here. So airport is the access point for aeroplanes. Seaport is an access point for ships. So in those terms, memory port is, these are the access points for the memory. How will you access the content inside the memory? So two ports means that there are two ways or two locations that you can access simultaneously.
Okay, sir.
So I think we can close here. Is that okay? Any questions?
So according to this terminology, like the 60 memory which we have studied will only be supported for the single port version, right? Because only one way in which you could read and write.
Yes, there are 60 cells which are two port also. There are two port 60 cells also. So 60 doesn't necessarily mean one port, but the 60 cells that you saw in DVD and which we will see from the next class onwards is a single port.
Yes.
Okay. So our next class may not be on this coming Friday. I'm on leave on this Friday. So we will cover it up with a substitute class. Our next class will be on Tuesday. If, however, I am able to get some industry folks to talk to you guys, we may still have a class. Okay. So I will let you guys know.
Okay, sir.
Sir, I have one question.
Yes, Devjit.
Sir, you were talking about accessing the memory via ports. So we are talking memory in terms of means accessing a particular cell or a particular column or the whole array you are talking about.
Yeah. So in memory, I can access two different addresses.
Okay, sir.
So that means there is a two-port memory.
So in a two-port memory, suppose let's say there is suppose a three-port memory. So if we say one port is for read and two port is for read, then through those two ports, two sense amplifier will be attached, whereas for the write port, there will be one write buffer will be attached. Is it like that?
Yes, if it is a 2 read and 1 write memory, then there are 3 ports. For 2 ports, there are only sense amplifiers, and for 1 port, there is only write driver.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Sir,
Yes, Biswa?
sir, any updates regarding Sandeep office hour? ताकि मैं उसको update कर सकूं.
Sandeep भी है अभी इस meeting में. I do not know. Sandeep, have you received any information from academic section?
No, I haven't received anything.
You haven't received anything yet. So they informed me that you will no longer be a part of MDT TA group. So I don't know. So then let's do it like this. Biswa, you do your office hours today as scheduled.
Okay,
as earlier scheduled. So from next week onwards, we will definitely know if Sandeep is going to be a part of this TA group or not. And then we can decide any change in office hours for that. Is that okay? I thought they have also informed Sandeep, and therefore I was not sure. So थोड़ा सा जल्दी खिचड़ी पक गई हाँ?
हाँ sir.
Yeah, I do not know. So just if they don't tell you anything, great. You are in this course, and we will maintain the earlier office hours. If they reach out to you and tell you something, then we need to see. Okay. Then we will go to what we discussed in the class earlier.
Okay, sir.
Is that fine?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Anything else? Any questions? Anyone? I'm stopping the recording.